On this episode of Bite Sized, we are watching and reviewing the 12th scene of the movie Twilight. That is from minute 1350 to 1443 for those of you watching along at home. And now, on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Bite Sized. I am always, as your host, Ben Abear. If this is your first episode of the show, welcome. Glad to have you. Here's what's going on. I am watching the Twilight movies one scene at a time in chronological order. I'm on episode 12. I'm about 13 minutes into the movie. This is going to take a very long time. I have a different guest join me every week. They generally have no idea what's going on because I send them about a minute of movie, and if they've never seen the rest of it before, that's all the context they get. My guest today is an actor, an improviser, a TikTok personality from the account at my roommate Ryan Wenzel. Welcome to Bite Size.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah, I'm honored to have you here.
Humbled to be here.
You're humbled and humbled.
Humbled.
You are the titular roommate, Ryan.
As it appears.
Yeah.
As it is so, as God said.
What is it like? Because for those who don't know, how would you describe at my roommate Ryan?
It's an amazing enterprise for me because my roommate, or my ex-roommate, my divorcee.
Most people would say former roommate.
Ex, whatever, all of the above, just like takes content of me and I don't have to deal with posting, editing. I'm bad at all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I get to just sort of exist, be crazy,
Your ex-roommate and my ex-podcast guest, Allie Ring.
Yes.
Listeners may remember her from episode 4. Just sort of does all that for you. And I guess my question to you is, how do I get in on that? How do I find someone who just makes me...
You know what? I'll hook you up with my management.
Okay.
And maybe they can, or your current living partner. You hear that?
That's the problem, though, because we sort of have the opposite situation where I take video of her that gets big, usually on Instagram.
Right.
So I'm on the wrong side
Change
of it.
it to the talk.
Ryan, let's get into the episode. I'm going to start this out the way I start every interview on the show, and that is by asking you, what is your history with the Twilight franchise?
My Twilight journey began in 2020. In the midst of the pandemic, And I had understood Twilight from afar, but I don't think... You know how if you watch like the Fast and Furious movies, it's like, that's what I knew they were about before I watched the Fast and Furious movies.
I think the only Fast and Furious movie I've seen is number 7.
Yeah.
And I like...
Exactly what you'd think.
Right.
You know?
I jumped in number 7 of the franchise, didn't feel like I was missing on anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with Twilight, I felt like it deviated so many of my expectations.
Okay.
Like right off the bat, I was like shocked. It's so campy. I watched all 4 in a 48-hour period.
All 5.
All 5, yeah. I guess
4 books, 5 movies.
Yes, that's right. And I mean, I laughed, I cried, I danced, I sweat, I had many epiphanies.
So this was your complete first time then with any. How did that come to be? If you had never read them before, you never seen them before. I guess I'll just be straightforward. Did Allie make you watch them?
No, my other friend did.
Okay.
I went on a little road trip to visit my friend in Columbus, and that's all we did that weekend.
Yeah.
Is sit and watch the Twilight movies.
Interesting.
Because I was like, I had never seen them, and she's like, you need to see this to believe this.
Okay.
I mean, and oh my God, I laughed so hard I cried.
It sounds like this is a life-changing experience.
It really was.
Let's talk about the before times. Before 2020, you hadn't watched them, you hadn't seen them. Were you at least aware of them?
I was aware, but I was a Potterhead. You know, I don't mean to say that. I don't know if that's a safe space on this podcast, but I was a Potterhead. So I didn't really dabble. I just knew there were wolves and... Are they technically vampires?
Yeah, they're straight up vampires. Yeah.
That's
ain't no thing. Technically about it.
It's like when I watch something, I only remember how I feel about it. I forget what happens in the plot.
And then what about after? How did that change your perspective on the films?
It was so different. And I think the thing that struck me particularly, I remember watching this scene.
Really?
And being like, okay, I get it now.
Really?
Like, it is so much lower budget, at least the first one, than I expected.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand the Kristen Stewart, like, that she kind of makes the same emotional expressions no matter how she's expressing.
Yeah.
And, like, you get all of that in this scene. You know, you get the full spectrum of her emotions, which is very minimal. And, like, the moody music, the, like, kind of shitty, like, way it's shot. Like, it looks like it's shot by, like, a high school student could, like, be behind the camera.
Apologies to director Catherine Hardwicke.
Oh, yeah, Catherine. I mean, you did amazing.
Yeah.
You did amazing, but...
in what way did it look like it was shot by a high schooler? Be specific.
I think it was, like, the camera quality. And I don't know how else to say that. It was just, like and the lighting.
Okay. In what way?
I don't even know. I just remember thinking this feels like an independent project.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like not like a big budget franchise.
It definitely feels like a sort of test because as the movies go on, they do change a little bit from a cinematography standpoint.
Yes, 1,000%.
The first one definitely is kind of a standout in that regard.
You can see that they like started to make money.
You
know,
and they started to the studios start to invest more time and effort into it for sure. Before we get too far away, let's talk about what this scene is. It's sort of a montage of sadness. It's that scene where Edward's not at school, Bella's in a parking lot, and Edward's not there.
I plan to confront him and demand to know what his problem was.
And then she's in class and he's not there.
But he never showed.
And then she's in a lunchroom and Edward's not there.
And the next day, another no-show.
That's about it.
One of my favorite things about the scene is the music.
How would you describe the music?
And like moody guitar.
When I think Twilight music, that is the first thing that comes to my mind.
It's incredible. It really sets the emotional tone for the scene, I think.
It does. Yeah. It tells you exactly, A, how she is feeling, but B, this is sort of an angsty teenage high school girl.
It expresses a longing without really even saying it.
It is so true. Yeah, let's just get to this scene sort of one location at a time. We start in the school parking lot. The Cullens drive in, girls in one car, boys in the other. Why did they not drive together?
Well, and the two siblings, the fuck-ass Bob one, and then the very blonde one.
Yeah,
aren't they
Alice and Rosalie.
Like the guy, aren't they sort of like a thing?
Yes, Jasper and Rosalie.
Right.
Yes.
So like they give that energy, like in every time that they look at anyone, they're giving that like bi couple energy of like, we saw you from across the room, like, and we really like your vibe.
Yeah. But then why aren't they in a car together?
Right.
Because
they're
other two,
always together.
Alice and Emmett, also a couple. So why did they split up for why did they gender segregate their car trips?
You make a good point because it's not like they're trying to like hide their relationship with each other at school. It's not like they're separate. Like once they exit the car, they're together in lock.
And they're driving from the same house to the same school.
Yeah.
It just seems unnecessary.
Yeah.
My only thought is, well, there's one of two reasons. First of all, the cars in this high school parking lot are impossibly cool. You've got Bella's cool old truck that, as much as they try to make it seem like a burden,
right?
It's a cool old truck.
Right. Where
Forks.
Oh, that is another one of my favorite details of the whole series is that the town is called Forks.
That's one of those things that you don't think it could be real until you learn. No, it's actually called Forks, Washington. There's a surfer van with like a beaded curtain. Again, too cool for your average high school. And the Cullens drive in like a Mercedes convertible and like a real nice Jeep with the soft top off. So my question for you, Ryan, were the cars in your high school that cool?
No.
Because it seems like...
Simply no.
It seems like everyone at Forks High drives just an amazing car.
It was a lot of Camrys.
Yeah.
A lot of like early or late 90s Camrys.
What did you specifically drive?
I drove nothing.
Okay.
I didn't have a car. But I always like rode with friends to school.
Okay.
Or my mom dropped me off. Shout out to Lori. She really put in a lot of hours on Salem Drive, getting me to Schaumburg High School, home of the Texans. We are SHS. I'm a huge Schaumburg High School fan.
Good. Glad to hear it. We all are here at Bite Sized. Yeah, and so the only thing I can think is, as they are driving in, first off, they want to show off the fact that they have two cool cars. Mm-hmm. The other thing is he's not in that. Emmett is like standing in the back of the Jeep.
Yeah,
and
an
like
insane choice.
An insane choice. And if Jasper's driving and Emmett is sort of standing, there's not room for two other people in the Jeep.
Yeah.
Like one of the girls could sit in the front, but the other would just be like weirdly pressed up against Emmett.
So if they always know that Jasper's going to be on his BS.
Yeah,
like,
and Emmett's going to demand to stand and he will
Right.
not move. So just don't bother.
Right.
Get in the other car.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe he really stakes a claim. Like a dog pees on their territory.
This is how he gets to school every day.
Yeah.
And I guess Edward can drive his own car because the Cullens hate the environment.
I mean, that's a good point, too. They've lived forever, so they should know the consequences of climate change.
Yeah, you really don't think about your carbon footprint when you live forever.
Right.
Because that's got to be pretty significant at a certain point. Bella's there in the parking lot. She's reading something.
This is my favorite part.
All right, let's get into it.
This is my favorite part of the scene. The Twizzler toss.
Yeah.
Of the guy throws a Twizzler at her.
Mike, I think. I don't remember.
Who's to say? It could be anything.
Could be literally anyone.
And the face she makes, the expression she makes. I don't even know what she's trying to convey. Like, I'm reading.
I know.
Like, I don't know. Is that what she's like? Like, I can't talk. I'm reading.
She gives this face like, homework, am I right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like certain people, when they come into the office on Monday, are like, gotta be here. When
Right.
they're like standing waiting for the Keurig to finish their coffee.
It's unclear why Mike is trying to get her attention, or
she's just so cool. They want her to come over and talk to them, I guess.
yeah.
What do you think she's reading? It looks like a play.
Oh, it could be a play.
I watched this very carefully, and just the way it's like the words are laid out. It's not like paragraphs from sort of margin to margin.
Yeah.
It looks like a play.
The 50 Shades of Grey screenplay.
Early copy.
You know, it could be anything. It could be The Crucible. I could see her ass reading The Crucible.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like witchy stuff.
Yeah.
If it's a play, it's definitely something dark and weird.
Yeah.
But I could also see it being like some YA novel.
Oh,
a la
interesting.
Twilight. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's meta. Maybe she's reading Twilight.
I think this movie, not known for its subtle symbolism, so like it's got to be like Romeo and Juliet,
Yeah.
right? That's like,
Oh, yeah. Some Shakespeare.
fated lovers, they die and things like that. And that's just sort of the level we're working on here with Twilight. She's also listening to something while she reads.
Could not do that.
No, I could not either, right?
Yeah.
Because unless it's like it's just some soft instrumental music, it's going
She
to
doesn't
completely
strike me
take
as
you
that.
out of there.
It's probably the
That's what I was about to ask. What do you think she's listening
Yeah.
to? And I also think that it's the song that's playing. I think I'm going to use a fancy word here and say that's diegetic music that we're hearing. She can hear it too.
Yeah.
So she says that she was planning on confronting Edward the next day at school.
You know,
And none of us are buying that.
I almost like went and looked to see like what happened before this because I couldn't remember what happened before it. In my mind, they like just like talked in class one time.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they like
It's sort of...
kissed or something.
Oh, no.
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 They're just like flirty and then he disappears.
Yeah, it's sort of basically that. He's not even flirty. He acts like openly disgusted
Aloof.
by her.
Yeah.
Listeners to episode 9, I think, will remember. We talk a lot. No, episode 8. Sorry. We talk a lot about Edward smells her. And
Oh my God! Right.
in one of the least comfortable parts of the
Yes.
film, and then like she goes to the office and he's there trying to get changed to a new science class so that he doesn't have to be around her.
Oh my God! I forgot about the smelling and the okay.
Yeah,
we're
episode
back.
8 and 9 sums that up. That's what happened. That's what she's supposedly going to be confronting her about. But like, what is she gonna say? And she's not the confrontational type.
Right. Like, you smelling me was really weird. Like,
right. The way you tried to change classes
yeah.
after we met for like an hour.
Yeah, she doesn't strike me as the... I mean, she kind of isn't for the rest of the series, if I remember correctly. Someone to pick a fight. The fights sort of come at her.
She gets a little more as time goes on, but early on, she's definitely in her shell and not the type that I would think would do something like that. Where is Edward during all this? Because he's gone. What do you think he's up to?
Isn't he like at home or something? Like he's hiding? Is it like, again, I could be totally making something up, or it's like a really suppressed memory. Uh-huh. Is it like there's a full moon and he needs to hide or something? That's a wolf thing, but
that is a wolf thing,
like,
yeah.
There's some sort of like timing issue that he has to stay home.
It is something, I think it's he doesn't know how to handle the fact that he is in love / maybe wants to eat Bella.
Right.
That she, let's get down to it, that she smells like something he has never smelled before, which I can only assume is true love's smell.
Right.
And so he's not going to school until he figures out, I don't know, how to deal with it. Right. But like, what's he doing in the meantime? Is he just like sitting,
reading,
just
making
like
that face,
brooding?
I mean, that's all he pretty much does when he like comes back into the picture. He's just brooding all the time.
He's not learning,
whether in public or does he need to learn at this point?
I mean, probably not. He knows a lot about mitosis or whatever, as we'll see in a future scene. But I'm just imagining him sort of out in the woods, just almost like just like Flashdance,
right?
Or what is it? Footloose. Footloose. When Kevin Spacey gets so mad, he has to go to that like abandoned factory and like dance out all of his anger.
Oh my God, I would love that deleted scene.
That would be great. That we are really robbed of what is Edward getting up to when he's just having some big feelings.
The sixth movie needs to be from the alternate perspective.
There is a book, Midnight Sun.
Please no.
That is just Twilight. I know, I understand. And I've said before, this is not about the Twilight books. This podcast is not. If you want to listen to a Twilight book podcast, listen to something else. But there is Midnight Sun, which is Twilight written from Edward's perspective. So maybe that tells us what he gets up to while he's gone.
I'm sure it does.
Right. I don't care enough to find it.
Incredible.
Listener, if you know if you've read Midnight Sun and know what Edward gets up to while he's not at school, don't write in the show. Don't tell us. We don't want to know.
I'm better off not knowing.
No, we truly prefer our imaginations on this one. Oh
my God.
Hey, Mindy, wait, come here. I haven't read it. Do you wanna get up in the microphone and tell me what you just did?
I just handed Ben a copy of Midnight Sun from my own personal Twilight collection.
That is weaponization.
Yeah. After hearing me say that I don't really care what's going on there, I could sit here and try to find it, but I'm not going to, because as I've stated,
I need to see this book.
There's a
the pomegranate on the cover is. What's that about?
It is kind of weird because there's an apple.
Like you said, it's not about the books. But why is there an apple? Is there an apple in Twilight?
Well, the apple is, again, going back to that super subtle imagery. Right. It's the apple of, the Garden of Eden and Original Sin. And yeah.
And the pomegranate of Original Sin, too.
Sure, the pomegranate, from the Bible that we're all familiar with. Moving on. We're in the lunchroom.
Anna Kendrick jump scare.
Anna Kendrick.
That was a shock to me when watching it for the first time. I had never perceived Anna Kendrick as being in the Twilights.
No.
Until I watched it.
Because she just emotionally and sort of thematically is not the kind of person that is in a Twilight movie.
Yeah, I feel like it was like a concerted public image effort to never mention it. She never brought it up ever in anything I've ever seen,
because this was like her big break, basically.
I've never seen her in press photos. I've never seen her at like premieres. Right. Like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson were like everywhere, and even like I remember Alice and her insane haircut everywhere too. But Anna Kendrick, she never popped up to promote this movie.
No, well, she wasn't a major character. She was not a famous actor yet.
Yeah, that's
really springboarded her into like this. This came out in 2008, so it's about 4 or 5 years before Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
which I feel like is when Anna Kendrick really took off.
So I saw Spencer, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, she's really good.
Yeah.
Then I saw Twilight. So I saw Spencer and then I saw Twilight.
Interesting.
If that timeline adds up, then yeah. Or I saw them pretty closely together.
Right.
But do we think that the way that Kristen Stewart plays Bella in the first Twilight movie, it's like a character choice or it is her first role?
Well, it's not her first role. Because you're not familiar with Kristen Stewart's career pre-Twilight?
There was a career?
She had a long career as a child actor.
What?
She was in an action movie called Catch That Kid.
Was she
where
the kid?
She's like a child. She's one of them. And she's like some sort of spy. I think there's a go-kart chase. I'm not familiar.
You guys, I really need you.
Let's go save your dad.
The climber.
We're gonna make our way to the safe. It's suspended 100 feet off the ground.
The hacker.
I created a digital blueprint of the building.
Awesome!
The driver.
I'm ready.
You ready?
Let's hit it.
On February 6th, they're on a mission.
Release the dogs. Run!
Without permission.
My mom's gonna kill me.
Catch That Kid.
We are so grounded.
Rated PG. February 6th, only in theaters.
I think she's in the movie Panic Room.
Oh my
a little home
God.
invasion thriller. She plays
With
Jodie
Jodie
Foster's
Foster?
daughter.
Oh my God.
They're going downstairs.
That room. The panic room. No, you gotta press emergency stop.
She, I think, was in the movie Zathura, basically Jumanji in space.
What is that? What is that? What's going on? Where are we? Somebody please talk to me right now!
They're gonna board us.
What's gonna board us?
You guys look alive, okay?
What's gonna board us?
The Zorgons!
What's a Zorgon?
They're lizard men. They eat meat. We're meat!
Sorry, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Sorry to this woman. I had no idea that she had such a lucrative career.
Don't worry, that's what I'm here for.
Ahead of
But
the Twilight.
this sort of, I think, takes her out of that child star sort of fun girl in a supporting role and made her into the leading adult actor that eventually would become Charlie's Angels Reloaded.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
It's just that I'm so good at so many things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well,
You stole aid money from women and children, refugees. Oh, baby. You swiped right. I'm your girlfriend now.
So, do you think that these were character choices, the lack of emotion, the like, or...
No, simply because I don't think they would have given her... I don't remember how old she was when she made the movie, when she made the first Twilight movie, but I don't think they would have given her that much sort of choice in defining the character on her own.
Right.
I feel like this has got to be like the writer and the director sort of telling her, this is who the character is, this is what you're going to do, be sad, bite your lip, blink 3 times every second.
You know, I'd love to see a deleted scene where she just like tries something different.
Yeah.
Like she's like quirky Bella,
Yeah.
and they're like, we need you to tone it down.
Because
You know?
she has range.
Right.
Yeah.
Like maybe she tried at times to be like, I'm gonna do something different, like
Right.
this take, and then they were like, no, you've got to reel it in.
I don't know. Maybe she was just playing it safe and just like, this franchise is on me. I gotta do what the adults say I gotta do.
In high school theater, I was very active in high school theater. I need the listeners to know that.
You and most of our previous guests.
I mean, they would always say, we'd rather you go big,
Yeah.
and we ask you to tone it down than like not doing enough.
Yeah.
I hope there's a world where that happened with Kristen Stewart, where she just went big and they asked her to tone it down.
No one in these movies really gets to go, or at least in the first Twilight movie, no one gets to go big.
Yeah.
It's a lot of toned down performances.
Yeah.
Except for Anna Kendrick is the only one who gets to be a little big, I guess.
I'm so sorry to the director for saying that it looks like it was shot by a high schooler. I just wanted to apologize.
I still
again.
want to know what exactly looks like a high school movie.
I think it's the lighting quality, that it's all just like this gray.
Yeah.
And
Ryan Wenzel, that is the Bluebell. Congratulations. Every time someone comes on this show, with maybe only one or two exceptions, they mention how weird the color is in this movie. They usually mention how blue, but you said gray, and that's close enough for me.
Yes!
So that dinging you just heard is the Bluebell. Congratulations. Wow. I had to really... You came so close to mentioning that earlier, and I had to bring it back around.
And that is truly what it is.
Yeah.
It's the
color.
blueness, the grayness.
The weird color grading of the movie. Absolutely. We get the lunchroom scene. We get, again, something we've seen before, and that is the Cullens don't eat human food, but they have to pretend to eat human food.
Which is amazing.
And so let's just do a quick rundown of the food that they are eating. Let's go left to right from on the screen. Here we have Emmett, who has a banana that, as you can see, is half peeled. And the peeled half that he would allegedly be eating is the half that's on the table.
Oh, my God.
That is the wrongest way he could have put that banana on the table.
And he's been around for hundreds of years, right?
You'd think he would know.
You know at this point.
Maybe 100 years ago when he was a person, they didn't have ready access to bananas.
Right.
So he's not 100% sure how to use it. Moving on to number 2, we've got Rosalie there, who it's hard to tell what that is, but it kind of looks like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag with a sort of cantaloupe wedge in it. I think
yeah, you're right.
I think that's what that is. Next up, we have Alice, who has just some sort of weird ball of tinfoil in front of her. What do you think is in there?
It's probably some other sort of fruit rind.
Okay.
Right? Like, that's what they all seem to be.
I'm guessing baked potato.
Chewing. Oh, yeah. I can see the hair.
Hair.
It always gets me.
4 out of 4. We got Jasper here. His lunch is a Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
And then right there on the table is just a single baby carrot.
Is that what that is?
It's a little orange guy.
Yeah.
Just not on a plate, not in a bag, just a baby carrot on the table. And that's our look at the Cullen lunches for today.
You know, like everybody would be talking about them in like a real high school. Like,
yes.
What's their deal?
They have the craziest food that they don't seem to eat.
Not at all hiding their incestuousness.
No. There's no way. Maybe like, the students can't tell they're vampires, I guess, but there's clearly something deeply wrong with them.
There are some red flags out there.
For sure. The way they drive into school in their separate cars.
Standing.
Just weird.
Yeah.
One last segment before we finish up, and that is another entry of Extra Extra. One of my favorite things to do when I watch a movie is look in the background and find the most extra.
Yes.
That is a background actor who is just sort of doing their own thing. There's no way they were told to do that. Today's extra is a student who is dressed in all black and sort of runs through the background of one shot, hunched over their lunch tray. Let me see if we can find it. There. That guy right there. No idea what's going on. If I didn't know any better, I would say he's not an actor and is like some sound guy who didn't realize he was in the shot. I'll post this on social media when the episode drops, as well as the sort of lineup of weird lunches. But there's Anna Kendrick, there's Kristen Stewart, and just zoom right through the background. He's like hunched over. Like he's
would
worried.
Love to know his story.
I would love, and that's Twilight is full of that.
Yeah,
Twilight is full of people that you're like, I want to know what's going on with you.
Books from other perspectives.
Yeah,
I need movies from other perspectives.
Books from that guy.
Yeah,
books from the Inhaler guy from a few episodes ago.
Oh my god.
Ryan Wenzel, we're getting close to the end of our time here, so I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask the final question of these interviews. That is, if you had to give this scene a name, what would it be? And this is going to be the name of the episode, so make it good.
If I could somehow say what the, like,
okay.
But that's, like, not it.
That's going to be hard for me to type into
so
the title.
Like Brooding About Eddie.
Brooding About Eddie.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
We sticking with that? Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Because that's what she's sort of doing.
Before we wrap things up, I've been telling y'all for the last few episodes how to email the show. And guess what? We got an email from a listener, so I'm going to read it here on the air right now. It starts off, "Hi, Ben. I've been enjoying your bite-sized podcast." Thank you. "I began when you interviewed my daughter Lily, but have since listened to them all. Although biased or not, I think episode 6 is the best one. Speaking of volleybonk, I've decided to watch Twilight again. Pretty sure I only read and saw the first one just in case Lily wanted to chat about it when she was a teenager." Talk about some great moms.
I love that.
That just warms the cockles of my heart. "Due to your podcast, I've been noticing all the details you pointed out, but did see the little girl reappear. See attached photos. Maybe her dad's the gym teacher. Are there different edits versions of the movie? No, there are not. But there's clearly no one driving that tractor trailer in the earlier scene, though. You asked for listeners to give input by emailing you, so there you go. Thank you for being direct. Keep up the great work, Amy." Amy, thank you very much. I can see now, you do see the little girl different in a later shot. She does reappear.
Amy doing God's work out here.
Just out here solving a mystery from 6 episodes ago. If you, listener, whether or not you are the mother of one of my past guests, want to email the show, you can send an email to myfavoritetwilightpodcast@gmail.com. I tried to come up with something that involved the name of the show, Bite Sized. They were all taken. So I just did that. Ryan Wenzel, if people want to send you stuff about Twilight, where can they do that? On social media, perhaps?
You can at Ryan's Rhinestagram, which is my Instagram. And that's probably the best.
If you want to follow the show, you can follow at bitesizedpod_ on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow us on TikTok, but I haven't posted anything there yet. I decided August was going to be the month I figure out TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beast in of itself.
And I have not opened it, and we are a few weeks into August.
You've got days.
I think September might be the month I figure out TikTok. If you like the show, tell a friend, give us a review. Word of mouth is truly our best way to get word out about the show. You know how podcasts work. It's the year 2023. I don't need to tell you what to do, but please do it anyway. Thank you to my editor, Ben Oxshire, for putting this show together. Thank you to the band Swimwear Department for the use of their song Mauled to Death as our theme song. That is it for today's episode of Bite Sized. Until next time, as we always say at the end of every episode,
bye.
Bye. That's it. That's all you got. All right. Oh, I actually like that a lot better. Bye. See you next time.